mga kaibigan, welcome to another episode of In My Toolbox. Of course, this is your weekly talk show exclusively on PHLV. Tonight, mga kaibigan, we will delve into the realms of finance and business and, of course, exploring pertinent topics aimed at providing insights and guidance. Mga kaibigan, it's crucial to emphasize that while we offer expertise in the show, we're not legal or tax advisors. Therefore, the information that we share here should not substitute to any personal advice tailored to your specific circumstances. Mga kaibigan, always seek the counsel of qualified professionals before making any significant decisions. Mga kaibigan, I'm here again. My name is Enrico. I'm an economist, financial expert, business consultant, and an entrepreneur. Stay connected with me through PHLV Radio or Facebook, or drop me an email at enrico.inmytoolbox@gmail.com. All right, let's dive into our topic today, mga kaibigan. It's medical insurance guide. Woo! Parang pag sinabing medical insurance guide, you're talking about a huge topic here, but we'll just take one topic at a time on this medical insurance guide. We all know kasi how important it is to have a health insurance plan that you will have coverage on a regular basis, especially when you have an office visits or you have an emergency medical care. But of course, sometimes kasi when you talk about medical, it can be overwhelming on finding the right policy that works for you or your whole family, and it actually works for your budget. Roughly kasi, there's about 56% of American that obtain their health insurance through employer. So if you're one of them, you have insurance through your workplace. That's what you call an employer program, medical program. So, even though your family member is not employed through, of course, your employer, they could also be covered, But you may still have other options though. Like you can actually have your own private insurance provider, and you can pick and choose what level coverage that you want. So that mainly comprises the 44% of the non-employer sponsored insurances. So again, that's private health insurances. You can actually look for plans through the health insurance marketplace out there. By the way, I don't know if you know this, there's about 7 types of health insurance plans out there. Maybe you're familiar with HMO, you always hear that, but do you know what it means of HMO? So that's what you call Health Maintenance Organization. This is your HMO. You have your PPO. This is Preferred Provider Organizations, or you might not be familiar with this, or you may be. It's called EPO. This is your Exclusive Provider Organization. You also have POS. This is your Point of Service. You also have HRAs, which is Health Reimbursement Arrangement. You have this HSAs, of course, you might be familiar with that, health saving accounts, and the medical indemnity plan. So regardless of your specific circumstances, mga kaibigan, everyone should know about the different insurance choices, and you have to understand the various types of healthcare plans that actually is available for you, from HMOs, PPOs, HSA, FSAs. The more that you understand what is actually out there, the better equipped that you will be to be able to find the best health insurance for your household. I know it's a lot. Even me, I'm a licensed professional. It's still a lot for me. And I would imagine if this is not something that you do day to day, it could be overwhelming. It's just like drinking water in a fire hose, right? It's just a lot. So basically, you need to know and understand first, what is health insurance? Well, yeah, people will say, I know that already. That's good. But for those people who doesn't, maybe this is time for you to understand what is health insurance. So when an individual obtains a health plan through an insurance company, they get into contract. Okay, or you get into contract to this insurance company, where this policy, or that's stipulated in the contract, will pay all or a portion of certain healthcare expenses like preventive care, specialist visits, surgical procedures, emergency care, or your prescription drugs. Okay, so again, I want to make sure that I point it out. Some can actually pay all, and some can actually pay a portion of those expenses. So in exchange, the policyholder, you and me, will actually pay a monthly premium. This is a monthly payment that we pay to this insurance company. This is sometimes paid for partially or in full by you or the policyholder's employer. Each insurance plan that's out there will actually have different coverages and different structure, with some reimbursing the policyholder for their out-of-pocket expenses, while the other companies will actually pay the medical provider directly. So just for this introduction of what health insurance is, it's kind of complicated already, right? But it's okay. We'll just tackle one thing at a time. So maybe you've heard about Obamacare before. Do we actually know what Obamacare is? Maybe you do. Maybe some don't. Let me just talk to you guys about that. There is what you call the Affordable Care Act. So this Affordable Care Act, it is also known as the Obamacare because this policy, it began in 2010 under, of course, President Barack Obama's administration. So this is actually a significant piece of that legislation that ensured essential health benefits for millions of Americans across the U.S. So the major goal of this Affordable Care Act, or you may have heard this one, ACA, right? That this goal is to open up affordable health insurance that will provide or subsidize for the lower income individuals and families. So if you are on that bracket, the lower income, as an individual or your family, this actually will allow you to of course, this actually expand the access to Medicaid services and be able to support initiatives that will reduce the overall cost of your health care. So that's what ACA is, or the Affordable Care Act, or what you and I know, the Obamacare, right? So this ACA, mga kaibigan, in the beginning, it was so controversial, right? So it was proposed in 2009, and then the provision later on was upheld by the Supreme Court and proposed to repeal the law, as narrowly defeated in 2018 under the Trump administration. So according to the reports from Medicare, right, or the CMS, an estimated 21 million people now actually have medical insurance, and thank you to the ACA. Maybe you don't know that, or maybe you're one of them. If you don't know anything about it, you might want to go out there and ask in the ACA Health Marketplace insurance out there, all right? And there are different categories of this one, okay? Now, you and me, we're consumers, right? We can learn more about this insurance plan and what options we have, and be able to sign up for a policy, right? And you can do this even online. There's this what you call the online ACA Marketplace, which actually give you specific information about available plans, especially this is state specific, or a region-specific plans. These plans are divided into four main categories for you, or for these plans to be able to help the shoppers, or like you and me, right, to narrow down which choices, or how are we going to choose which are we going to avail, or which is actually good for us. Maybe you've heard this platinum, gold, silver, and bronze packages or categories. That's what you're going to be looking at. You need to see for yourself what choices fits you, right? And of course, some people look at it on the budget. Some people look at it, how much do I need? So, all of these plans, although, right, it actually provides at least a minimal level of service that will actually include the free preventive care. Okay, they just by this one, it will have a great difference in premium already, and the actual cost of out-of-pocket expenses. Okay, so many Americans today, mga kaibigan, can also qualify for a premium tax credit if their income falls between 100% and 400% of the federal poverty level. So all of these items that I'm telling you guys, you might want to go out there and research about this one. Hey, what's this poverty level? They said that I have to fall between 100% to 400% of the federal poverty level. It means that it's the poverty level of the whole United States. How do I qualify? What can I qualify for? Always remember ACA Marketplace. They have this different category of choices. Platinum, gold, silver, and bronze. This will actually help you find the right fit for you or the right plan for you. I'm just going to give you some items. Platinum plan. Wow, this sounds so great, right? This is the top tier. And actually, when you take this one, this mostly covers at least about 90% of all your expenses. 90% is 90%, guys, right? So the plan typically have the highest monthly premiums and the lowest deductibles. Of course, premiums and deductibles are two different things, or the copays or the co-insurance rates. For those who know they'll need a lot of Medicare, okay, or medical care, or if you know that you need a lot of medical procedures, this plan could be a good choice for you because, you keep out-of-pocket expenses low. So maybe, sometimes I ask my clients, how often do you go for a medical procedure? How many times in a year do you go to a hospital? So just by that simple question, you will already know what fits your category. Okay, the gold plans, on the other hand, these are also very good plans, and you're expecting to cover about 80% of your out-of-pocket medical expenses, and this will also have higher monthly premium, but policyholder can actually expect lower cost when it comes to copays, co-insurance, and deductible. So the platinum is 90% and pays pays high premium but lower out-of-pockets. The gold plan is about 80% only, but still pays higher premium and lower out-of-pocket. So how about silver plans? Okay, this covers about 70% of your medical costs. Still, 70% is 70%, right? And this actually offers consumers a good balance of low to mid-range premium cost that is paired with moderate copays, co-insurance, and deductible. So basically, the silver plan is kind of in the middle, right? Your premium is not so high; it's kind of in the middle, right? And then the copays, co-insurance, and deductibles are just on a moderate, out-of-pocket expenses, And of course, those who qualify for a marketplace cost sharing reduction, maybe you've heard of this one. If not, that's what they call CSR. You have to enroll in a silver plan to be able to access the extra savings that it offers. So it is CSRs can be found in silver plans, and this is a different saving program from the premium tax credit, which can be used in the conjunction of all the levels of plan. Okay, so bronze plan, of course, I mentioned that a while ago. It offers you and me the lowest premium. And it can actually cover about, let's just say, 60% of your medical expenses. No, this actually typically have the highest copays, highest co-insurance rates, and highest deductibles. So you're looking at low premiums, but high copays, co-insurance, and deductibles. Okay? And these plans are commonly selected by those people who want coverage but don't plan on going to the doctor. Again, the question that I mentioned a while ago, how often do you go to the hospital every year? Okay, so if you're actually not really going at all, maybe just to have a health insurance, this may be a good plan for you, But don't plan on going to the doctor a lot, right? Because, it actually just give you the worst case scenario policy, right? So you will want to think about that. These 4 different categories of this Obamacare. Outside of these 4, there is actually one additional category called catastrophic plans. As the name implies, these plans actually provide mostly only for emergency coverages. With a very low premium but a very high deductible, right? And these deductibles and these plans are capped out on this out-of-pocket with a maximum amount that is being set by the ACA themselves, right? So at this moment, right, it's over $9,000 for an individual. Wow, right? Like the other plans, a catastrophic plan is required to cover, number one, of course, preventive care, but only those who are under the age of 30, or those over 30 who actually have obtained hardship exception. These people can actually purchase that, right? So, mga kaibigan, I'm just talking to you guys about different categories of the Obamacare or the ACA in the marketplace. But definitely, I mentioned about these health insurance plans, okay, out there. So, when you shop for your health insurance, whether, it's through the marketplace or an individual carrier, you guys know this one. You see a lot of advertising or advertisement from all of these major companies out there, or maybe through an employer. Whatever it is, you likely have several choices regarding the types of health insurance that's being offered to you. But again, not all carriers will offer all the types, right? That's why you would want to shop around to be able to understand what actually better fits you, and still, it's helpful to understand each one of these types of health insurance plan so you can better weigh the choices of care that actually fits you, or even just understanding what is that you really want. So a health maintenance organization, as I mentioned a while ago, the HMOs, right? This is a plan that is actually a managed care plan, that it actually only uses in-network doctors. So basically, if there's a doctor's group, you can only use that in-network of that doctor's group, or providers, or they call the hospital for each policy holder. An HMO has the ability to offer a broader range of services at a lower cost to individual, but it does restrict them in other ways. So typically, HMO plans don't cover any of your costs if you see an out-of-network provider, except in an emergency, of course, right? So if you do not have that group of doctors, say you were out of state, and that group of doctors or providers is not in that out of state, definitely you are automatically be out of network. So most of these plans also require for you to choose a primary care provider. So if you're an HMO, it will actually require you to choose your PCP, whom you have to see first before they would be able to refer you to a specialist. So if that's familiar with you, you have to go to your primary care first, right? And then from that primary care, they refer you to a specialist. That's an HMO. So because HMO can help keep the care cost low, and they're very good, choice if you don't mind working within a set framework of providers. So mga kaibigan, HMO is an in-network a provider of health insurance plan. I hope that's familiar with you. If that's if you go to PCP first before you go to a specialist, practically, guys, basically you have that HMO. So the other one is PPO, Preferred Provider Organizations, mga kaibigan. So this actually allow you as a policy holder to use either in-network preferred providers and hospitals or out-of-network providers. But this offers the lower cost for the former, which is the in-network. In-network costs are often capped at your copay and deductible, while the out-of-network will actually cover you but may have higher copays and co-insurance rates. So, mga kaibigan, you do not have to consult with a PCP in this case. Right? So in HMO, you have to consult with PCP first before you go to specialist. A PPO, you do not have to consult with a PCP before visiting a specialist. Okay? Offering you more flexibility as a patient. However, mga kaibigan, because you have more choices in terms of healthcare providers, a PPO plan will usually have automatically, right? You guess it right, a higher premium than an HMO plan. Right? So that's your PPO. I mentioned about EPO. If you're familiar with that, this is good. If you're not, it's okay. An EPO is an exclusive provider organization, which is similar to an HMO, that you must work within a set of network providers, except that EPO plan usually do not require a PCP referral, before you go to an in-network specialist. Because in HMO, mga kaibigan, remember, you have to go to your PCP first before they tell you which specialist you'd go, right? In the EPO, while it's similar to an HMO, you do not need to get a referral from your PCP to go to an in-network specialist. So it actually combines the elements of HMO and PPOs. That's your EPO. It's a combination of HMO PPO and offering an in-network care without the need of PCP. Remember, a PPO, right? You do not need to ask for a PCP to go to a specialist. I hope that makes sense on the HMO, PPO, and EPO, right? So there's another one, healthcare plan, that is called point of service, or the POS plans, right? This is kind of hybrid if you're not familiar with this one. If EPO is a combination of HMO and and the PPO, this point of service plan is also a hybrid of an HMO and PPO. Policyholders in this case will be able to find the lowest cost when they receive services from their PCP, right? And that's the in-network providers. However, they may be referred to an out-of-network specialist by their PCP. So you have you can receive medical services from a PCP and an in-network, but they can refer you to an out-of-network specialist by their PCP. So, and you will be receiving, in that case, the same in-network pricing. So even though you go out of network, when a PCP tell you, hey, I have a specialist, but it's out of network, okay, so you will get, of course, the same in-network pricing. Remember, HMO is a lower cost, right? So that's in-network, even though they refer you to an out-of-network specialist. So most of this point of service plan, or the POS plans, are not subject, policyholders are not subject to a deductible when using in-network providers, but out-of-network deductibles are high. So you're not going to be paying in-network deductible, but when they refer you to out-of-network, that deductible is actually high. So if the insured chooses to see an out-of-network provider on their own, right, they will likely end up paying higher out-of-pocket costs because of these charges. POS plans are not very common, right? I bet it's not really common for everybody, because they always have to tend higher premium costs than HMO. So why would I even go to a POS, if I can actually do it already to some extent HMO processes, right? So that's the difference, right? It's a hybrid of HMO and PPO, but some people, because of the higher pocket, they go to HMO, which makes sense. There's one thing that they call health reimbursement arrangements, or the HRAs. Now, this is exclusively an employee-sponsored plans. And this can be offered as a standalone benefit, or it can be attached to a traditional health insurance plan. So HRAs, essentially, it actually provides qualified employees with tax-free health benefits. Usually, this is being paid monthly. That can be used to pay premiums, deductibles, or out-of-pocket healthcare expenses. These plans, mga kaibigan, are popular in a setup of like a small business. That these small businesses, they would want to provide their employees with healthcare options, but may not be financially be able to offer full coverage through a group plan. So basically, there is a group plan for these employers to buy or to introduce to their employees. But of course, this group plan, special and private, right, it's actually going to be more expensive. Now, this HRAs, right, it can be may not be able to financially be able to offer what do you call this on these private plans, group plans. It's a full coverage, but if they cannot financially cover the expenses or the premium, employers go to an HRA. So this can be attached to an employer group plan as well as a supplemental benefit, for them to be able to pay expenses like the HSAs, right? What is HSA? I mentioned that a while ago. This is your health savings account, and this is always used in conjunction with a high deductible health plan. They call it HDHP, and they actually allow you and me, policyholders, to set aside pre-tax money into a saving account that can only be used to pay for healthcare services. So if you're employed right now and you are being offered with HSAs or health savings account, you can actually put a portion of money there, and this money is is going to be paying for your healthcare services. Right now, any money that's not going to be used in that year, it actually rolls over to the next, and yearly contribution are capped at a predetermined level. So you have agreed this amount of money to be taken out from you, and and be put into that savings account. And these are offered by employers who may either contribute to the account themselves, or it could be a match of contribution that is made by you. It's just like a 401k, right? Some employers can actually match it, some employers doesn't, but you still put some money in it. So that's an HSA for you. And this HSA, you might be asking, is it similar to FSA, which is a flexible spending account? Well, yeah, it actually offers the same benefit, but they differ in two key areas. While HSA is owned by an individual and they can take the account with them even if they move to another job, the FSA, on the other hand, is owned by your employer. Secondly, it is being funded as an FSA, so it doesn't roll over into the next year plan, making this account a use it or lose it benefit. Wow. So mga kaibigan, I hope that makes sense, right? HSA, it's yours to use. If you go to another employer, you can bring it with you. FSA, on the other hand, okay, so this is actually owned by the employer, and it doesn't roll over to the next year plan. So if you don't use it, you lose it, right? So the other one, if you didn't use it, it will go over to the next plan. Right, so I hope that makes sense to you. And just before we end this topic, mga kaibigan, we also have what you call the medical indemnity plan, or this is sometimes you hear this. They call it the fee-for-service plan. So this actually offers more flexibility of any insurance policy because you can choose any medical provider and there's no in or out of network distinction. And then the members here will pay a monthly premium as well as their yearly deductible before the plan will pay anything. Okay, so the deductibles are often quite low. After deductible, that you pay the deductible, the plan will pay out the usual, customary and reasonable rate for service provided. Customary and reasonable, you call it UCR, the UCR rate for services provided. Well, this is around about 80% of the total cost of the policyholder. And then, of course, you pay for the difference. So it's worth noting on this side, guys, that the policyholder, you can actually pay upfront for the services and then submit a claim to be reimbursed by their plan. So you actually go out there and pay the services that you have not gotten yet, right? So furthermore, this UCR will differ basing on what state or what county or where, basically where you live, right? So that's what you call a medical indemnity plan or fee-for-service plan. All right, mga kaibigan, these are just a medical insurance guide that, most of you may be listening right now knows a little bit about it or knows a lot about it or maybe don't know anything about it. I hope you find this very informative. But again, you can get this information, especially nowadays. If you would want, just go ask Google. You'll find more of this information. Other than that, guys, I hope you got something out of this Medical Insurance Guide episode. Don't forget, mga kaibigan, again, my name is Enrico Pobre. You're listening to In My Toolbox. Hanggang po sa susunod na topic natin next week. I'm signing off.